sexuality, judgment, and quote quote being the good woman. Okay. In society in general, to be considered a good woman, you have to abandon sex. You have to be non sexual. You have to be a bit of a hermit. You have to be ascetic. You have to be somebody that is just celibate. Now, I want to talk about this word because a lot of people in today's world use words that they don't really understand what these words are. Celibate doesn't necessarily mean that you don't have sex, it means you kill your sexual desire. Okay, religions are the first places, all Abrahamic religions, Christianity, Islam, Judaism. So the Abrahamic faiths are obsessed with controlling sexuality of both genders, especially a woman. So that's why you have all these rules, these terms, these conditions that are placed on you and innately, of course, reinforced by family, by culture, by society at large, by programming, by music, by judgment. Okay. If a woman is free in her expression of the feminine, which by nature considers the sexual element, of course there's going to be a problem, right? When I created my clothes in Noire, and especially when I created Lilith's red suit, Lilith and I had this whole conversation about the Madonna whore complex. And how can a woman be respected and sovereign and still be a very sexual being? How does that work? How can you be confident in it? How can you own what it is? So, a lot of women's biggest fear patriarchally is, I don't want a man to just sleep with me and use me. This implies that women have no consent, which of course women are not taught to have consent, because sex is something a man does to you and not something that you ask for, not something that you enjoy. You just kind of lie there and feel awkward and weird, and this man molests you and gropes you. That's the experience of most women. The tragedy is we don't want to talk about it openly in society, and which is why we have molestation, which is why we have rape, which is why we have incest, which is why people are insane in the head. 9 times out of 10, the challenge comes down to sexual frustration. It comes down to sexual abuse. People don't want to talk about this stuff. That's why they're cuckoo in the head, because realistically, your nadis, your meridians, your chakras have been damaged by that type of abuse. Now, abuse can be in different ways. Somebody could have violated you, somebody could have touched you the wrong way, somebody could have forced themselves on you, man could have forced himself on a woman forces herself on a man. It goes both ways, as a child, as different things. Now, I remember having a conversation with two spirits 10 years ago, in 2016, and they said that where there is sexuality, there's jealousy. Any place where there's free-flowing, abundant sexuality, whether it's in a debased, distasteful, and vulgar and base manner, or whether it's elegant or classy, there is going to be jealousy. Why? Because what people don't seem to understand, and I say this especially in business, that people necessarily are not coming to buy your products or your services. Yes, they may see change, they may see assistance from what you give, what you do. You may make their life brighter, better. But the easiest way to always receive money, especially in business, and yes, we can obviously translate that to employment too, is be very sexual in nature and be very seductive. Now, the energies of seduction cause the blood in the muscle to relax. If you've ever seen a person that's very charming, playful, you're like very magnetized, very charismatic, very hypnotic energies, you're dealing with sexual energy. You're dealing with a person whose body is very relaxed. 9 times out of 10, like I've said, it's a sexual abuse problem. But with women specifically, Duchess, Bune, and I have had these conversations, these sedations a lot. And Bune has always said that to me, that women need to consistently have sex, and they need to if they don't have an available partner, get it from where you can, and also get yourself off as much as possible, because if you're backed up, you become stinky. Now, stinky, I don't necessarily mean that you're not showering. Stinky means an attitude. And you know, a lot of women are just backed up, they're frustrated, and it comes out in a funny way. It comes out in a way that you are aggy, you're angry, you're upset because, you know, you're frustrated in that area, right? What happens is the energies that need to be free flowing from the brain downwards, from downwards upwards, they need to be going both ways, they get blocked. And when they get blocked, what ends up happening is neurosis, psychosis. A lot of women, when they start overthinking, if you have a man available, yeah. If you don't, take care of it yourself, because what's going to end up happening is you're gonna get cuckoo in the head. And I see this a lot with women. Yeah, men also do get cuckoo in the head, but you know, guys are a little bit more, society gives men more leeway in that area. But when it comes to women, it's really, really bad. They're like backed up, like it's like a toilet that needs to be like unclogged and the plumber has to spend 2 months trying to fix the pipes and everything. That's really how bad it becomes. In the cultures I come from, you're given the terms, the patriarchal terms and conditions that you only sleep with your husband and you're a whore if you have any type of relationship that, forget a physical relationship with a man, if you even talk to him, if you even look at him, if you even entertain him, you're dirty, you're bad, you're the type of woman, ew, men wouldn't, they always threaten you with the same thing: who's gonna marry you? In those countries it works, but if you live a very free life, you're not going to be threatened by things like that. In fact, you don't even care. um but that programming, that patriarchal programming, goes extremely deep. So there's going to be a lot of women who are comfortable with their sexuality don't judge other women for their sexuality, like, oh, she's sleeping around with men. Maybe if you were getting enough of it too, you won't feel the need to judge people. Like, all right, just if they're having fun, so what's the issue? So then they get on this moral high horse and they try to pretend that they're better than other people, or, you know, they're cleaner or holier. It goes back to the religious bullshit that I usually talk about. Okay. Sexuality needs to be free flowing in your life. You're generally going to feel miserable and aggy and miffed about things that don't even matter. Like when you see, especially women, and you see women getting aggy over the weirdest, smallest stuff, it's stress. And you know, like, instead of drinking and going to the spa, just do what's necessary. But women have a lot of blocks when it comes to sex due to trauma, due to horrible experiences, because most women's sexual understanding is a man doing something to you. Basically, most women understand sex through a man. They are completely disconnected from the energies of sex. They don't know what sex is, unless it's this dirty, disgusting thing that a man does to you and only men like it, because there's no connection to it in the body. So you see it as something that men do. Now, also, men do not have the healthy and the right way of carrying themselves, so of course they're gonna traumatize the women, because and then the cycle just continues and it gets nasty. So I've always said, how can a man use you if you've consented? A man, you feeling used as a woman is when the man has taken advantage in some shape or form. You did not consent. He may have tricked you. I mean, if you're naive, of course. He may have tricked you and lied to you that he wanted something serious with you, but, you know, his end goal was... isn't that almost every man's end goal? It's like, why is this so surprising for you women? I've always said that. So there's different categories of women, and there are gonna be guys that complain, you know, my wife doesn't want it. But if the wife does want it, oh, she has a lot of heat in her, oh, she's always horny, she always wants it. So then you can't win. So what exactly do you want? So to be a good woman, quote, quote, in society is to be sexless. It's to not talk about it, to think it's dirty, disgusting, to be judgmental, to have psychosis in the brain. That's a good woman. Why? Because she's easily controlled. A person who is disconnected from their sexuality is very easily controlled. Very, very easy. That's why there's this whole purity culture, rape culture, virginity culture, blah, 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 this, that, and the other. That's the reason there is, like, so much issue about that situation. Because in actual fact, a woman that's connected to her sexuality is not going to be controlled that easily because she has dominion over herself. Men who are misogynistic, men who are patriarchal, especially the type of cultures I come from, you have sex with the wife to have children, and like there's this thing I have to marry, and it's a chore. The real sex is with the prostitutes at the brothels. It's this again. I talk about what Lilith said about the Madonna whore complex. So as a woman, you really want to find empowerment. You really, really want to be empowered within yourself. You find that part of yourself first. This message, again, I always say my work in Spartan Night is not for everybody. It's not. It's geared to a specific type of woman, and a woman who has an open mind and she's comfortable and secure in herself. There's going to be a lot of women that watch my videos and think, you know, you're just telling women to do this or that. I'm not telling anybody to do anything. I am bringing up very necessary topics that need to be talked about. And the challenge is because they're not talked about in society, we live in that type of world. So women always have this goody two-shoes training. I'm a good girl, I'm a good daughter, I'm this. And if you're not a dutiful little girl, you're not a dutiful daughter, I must serve my parents who have abused me, I must serve, you know, the whole community that abuses me, I must serve the man that abuses me as well. You know, there's that whole training that just be a doormat, be a sheep. Some of us don't want to be that. We have no interest in it. And when somebody can't control you because they can't actually limit your look, your sexuality, who you are, what you are, then the names start, isn't it? That's it. That's this. It just goes to hell. A man's sexuality is celebrated. It's seen as something good. It's seen as something natural. It's seen as, in fact, not having sexual experience for a man works against him. It's like, what, really? You haven't slept with women, or is there something wrong with you? So it's like, okay, so you want men to have experience, and you want women not to have the experience. So who are they having experience with? Men? I mean, well, in today's world, yeah, a large part of them are. It is what it is, but these are questions that we need to ask ourselves, because if you truly need to live an authentic life towards yourself, you will notice a lot of people where you'll get a lot of hatred when you're attractive, when people find you sexy, when you are comfortable with those energies, because you get attention. And a lot of people, they hanker all their life for attention. They're desperate for attention. They want attention. Like, they don't get attention freely. That's the reason so many people are so envious of people who are attractive, because when you're attractive, you don't have to work hard for attention. It comes as 1, 2, 3. You go out, people are looking at you. You go out, people talk to you. You go out, people ask you for drinks, buy you drinks, do things for you, because looks are not commonality. The majority of people are not attractive to look at, and that's just reality. Well, I know a lot of people are going to be offended by that, but when you look at their look, they can't necessarily open doors in rooms with their look. But I've always encouraged women, maintain what you have. You can't change your face, but maintain what you have and really, really put the effort over there. Basically, don't be lazy with your appearance. But this is a short video, and I really wanted to cover my thoughts on judgment, sexuality, and the goody two-shoes energy. Goody two-shoes is not going to get you anywhere. It's sort of like, I still remember reading this thing on Instagram, and this woman was like, I'm 39, I'm a virgin, I'm waiting for the right man. And I remember calling my friend and I was like, who's going to tell this poor woman? There is no right man. The right man doesn't exist. You take an imperfect man and you see alignment or compatibility with him and just take that. But you know, women are like, I have standards, and that's exactly why you're going to remain single for the rest of your life, because, and then those women are going to be the ones who say, oh, you want me to settle. We're not asking you to do that. We're saying you have to be realistic about the world that you live in. And a lot of women, things like social media have got into their head, so now they think they're going to marry the president, and it's like, it doesn't work that way. So you deal with the man that you feel you can have a good life with. He's not going to be a perfect man. There's not going to be any person that's perfect in the world. You're not perfect, anybody watching this. But we all have things we struggle with as human beings. Good things, bad things. A lot of women behave like the shit doesn't stink, but, you know, You've got plenty of problems yourself that the man won't like about you, but he'll adjust, he'll compromise if he's truly interested. So yeah, think about that.